There we are. Gotta love technology. All right, you guys, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where you felt completely justified in how you felt, but something inside you, something deeper, was telling you to respond differently? That tension, that's ego versus alignment. And if you don't learn the difference between the two, you will keep reacting in ways that don't reflect who you're becoming. You guys, welcome back to another episode of You Are Meant for More. I'm your host, Francina Ayala. Thank you so much for being here, for joining live. If you're joining live, let me know. Tell me you're here. Say hello. If you're joining me on replay, that's fine too. Love it. Just let me know you're here. And where are you joining from? So, you guys, last week I didn't get a chance to do a live episode because I'm actually going to be talking more about this subject as the show progresses, because last week was April 15th. And if you know what April 15th in the United States is, it means that that's the day your taxes are due. So before we jump into today's topic and show, I'm like super excited, you guys, that I'm stumbling over my words because I'm thinking faster than my words are coming out. So I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So bear with me. All right, let's take it back, Francine. I know it's exciting to be with the people again. So what happened was I was doing my very best to make sure that my taxes were submitted on time. Well, let me tell you a little backstory. I started my business back in 2016. I started doing rideshare. So I told myself in 2016 that I wanted to quit, never work for anybody else again, meaning I quit with one paycheck at the end of December 2016. I quit. And I just said, you know what? Rideshare was booming. It was taking off. I can always drive while I, start my own business and things like that. And I was moving in that forward momentum. But what happened is I had never had a business. I never knew how to be an entrepreneur. So I fell behind in taxes. Every single year I was behind, behind, behind. And every single time I tried to figure it out, I got overwhelmed. Okay. I'm going to share more about this story later on in this episode because I have a very special guest joining me around the 5:30 p.m. mark. And we're going to dive into all things overwhelm on taxes. Okay. So just stick with me. She is phenomenal. I absolutely adore her. So don't go away. Stick with me to the end. Okay, you guys, the last episode, I talked to you guys about the ego. I talked to you recap about how I got into a very emotional argument with my boyfriend and how God literally came in and was like, hold up. Okay, he didn't grab me, but he was like, hold on, show him grace and understanding and love, because that is who God is and that is who he has aligned you to be. And he threw me in the book of Jonah. And if you want to hear more of that story, definitely go check out the previous episode. It's episode 11. Today's topic, I mentioned to you at the end of last episode that I wanted to reflect a little bit more on ego and alignment and who's really leading your life. You stop reacting and you start leading. So the reason why this episode is so important is because it allows you to step out of your human emotions and step into your spiritual divine with God. Okay? Now I know it's like it's rough. It's like, yes, but them, but that, but this, but everybody else, but me. I understand. But I'm going to show you love and grace that God wants you at the heart. Okay? So let me go ahead and pull up my notes. We're going to dive into this. And I want you guys to ask questions because I promise you, somebody else is probably thinking the same thing or is going through the same thing. And I want to be able to support you. Okay? So let's jump in. I'm going to pull up my notes. Oh, And I know you're probably guessing, Francine, what's with the cute little decoration? You guys, my family and I, my son, my mom, and my son's girlfriend, we're headed to Hawaii tomorrow. So, woo! Yes! I know, it's so crazy. Long story short, we used to live there. My mom fell in love with it. My dad was in the military, so we were there for 2 years. I was like 1 when we got there, or 3 when we left. So I don't remember it much, but I've gone back twice as an adult with best friends. And then this time it's with my family, my son, my mom, and his girlfriend. I'm so excited. I feel so honored and blessed. And so anyways, wish us safe travels. Pray for us that we have a fabulous time, and definitely follow on social media, because you guys know I'm going to be posting stories. Stories. All right, let's go. Let's jump in. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal today and having a fabulous day. Whether it's daytime or evening, I am praying for you. I am loving you wherever you're at, and I'm here to support you. Okay, here we go. So I had asked you about how to differentiate the two, right? The ego versus alignment. The ego is there to protect you. Let me reiterate that, because what happens is it's showing up in a space of protection. So I want to remind you about that. It's not who you're meant to be. It's who you are currently in that fight or flight mode. What my job here is to do, what my mission from God is to get you from ego to alignment. And so that is what my message today is to do, is to help you understand where you're holding the emotions and the ego and the anger and the frustration and the shame and the guilt, and get you to a place of peace, love, joy, happiness, alignment. And you guys, if you want to live in that peace, I promise you, it is with Him. It is all with Him. And I'm going to show you how to get there. So stay with me. Okay, here we go. So ego isn't who you are. Again, my notes, I just said this. It's who you became to protect yourself. Ego is protection, built from past hurt, fear, and rejection. It reacts quickly to keep you safe. That's how ego works. Okay, so I added extra notes because I wanted to really emphasize where it's coming from. So ego is fear dressed up as control. What? Let me say it for the people in the back. Ego is fear dressed up as control. Okay, how many ladies out there are actually controlling? Yeah, been there, done that. I understand. I know I was in that control mode, trying to do everything on my own. Yep, I know. We're there. So no judgment, honey, because I've been there. All right. So it's not bad. It's just not meant to lead you. And this is where it gets very interesting, because so many of us as humans, we're meant to control every situation. But when God comes in and tells you that is not for you to deal with anymore, this is where I want you, then you follow. And as I mentioned, you guys, He threw me in Jonah. And later on in this episode, I'm going to share, since then, 2 weeks ago, since I last seen you, or since you last seen me here, is that He's put me through several different books. And I'm going to share, because one of them was like, really, God, you want me here? But the thing is, when people read the Bible, they read it in their own perception. And so sometimes it's either understood as like, He's going to hurt me. It's understood as, what is this all about? This doesn't make sense. So what I've been doing personally is I've been keeping a chart of the books that He's been putting me in. And I've been getting the message from ChatGPT. Now, granted, I know there's going to be people out there like, that's not God. You can't do that. I'm using it to break down scenarios, because I know where I'm at in my life. I know the messages I hear from God and where He wants me to be. So if He wants me in the book, I'll be in the book. If He wants me to dissect a little bit more information, then I will go to chat and dissect. So no matter what it is that you're using, there's a guide there. I promise you, it's all leading back to love, to light. Okay. If you're getting any type of darkness, it's not God. I will tell you 100% that that's not him. So he's going to guide you. You just have to be willing to listen and to understand that process. Stick with me. And you guys, if you ever have questions about this, definitely reach out to me, because I know this sometimes sounds a little bit off and you're like, what? That's not right. Believe me, I was you thinking all of those things. So no, I'm not judging. You can reach out and ask me. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you are aware that he is bringing you into alignment, and he is never, 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 and I'm going to reiterate this several times, he's never going to bring you to chaos. Okay. So if there's chaos in your life, let's talk about it. What's going on? I'm going to guide you, and I'm going to show you how he's going to lead you to peace. You just have to be willing to let go of what? Control. And what is control? Ego. All right, here we go. Ego reacts fast. Alignment takes a pause. And you guys, can I be real? Can I be real? Can I be real and honest with you guys? Today I was talking about a situation, and I came up and I was like, oh yeah, and this and that happened. And then I said this and then I said that. And I took a step back and I was like, that's my ego coming out. So when you start to realize where your ego falls in your life, in your relationships, in your career, in your family, in your conversations, you really start to understand, oh, I know where this is coming from. All right. Stay with me. Okay, so run through, I'm going to basically be able to give you these run throughs of examples that I put together. Sorry, I made notes and I put run through. Hilarious. So how it's in relationships. So how does it show up in relationships? So you're in a relationship and you get into a heated discussion with your partner, okay? And you may react like this. Well, I'm not apologizing first. That wasn't my fault. It was their fault. Okay, so that's where ego comes out. Where alignment is do I want peace or do I want to be right? And so how many of you would just literally sit back and be like, well, it doesn't mean they're right. It's, like, I'm not going to give in. They're not right. Okay. But do you want peace or do you want to be right? So there's a process to communication. I'm not saying they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying that you get to choose peace over conflict and really understanding the meaning of that whole conversation. Because what happens is when people argue, there's a miscommunication on both sides. So one person is trying to relay a message where the other person hears something that their brain is perceiving. And then before you know it, it's going back and forth. Who's right? Who's wrong? And egos fly all kinds of different ways. Because then there's anger, there's emotion, there's the of fear, of sadness, of guilt, of shame. There's tons of emotion that go into an argument. And some of it may not even stem from the actual person standing in front of you. It can stem from a previous relationship, from somebody who hurt you in the past. Crazy, right? Insane. I know. This is why I want to get this information out to you guys. I want to bring the love, the peace, and the joy that you deserve, that God wants you to be in. Okay? All right. Stay with me. Okay, so what did I do in my notes? Here we go. So maybe in the conversations, this is another example in relationships, is they disrespected me. How did they disrespect you? So this can get a little tedious, as you all know. Like, I had an argument with my boyfriend and he broke one of my core values. And so do you feel disrespected in that space or in that sense to you? They disrespected you. And I promise you, like, God will hold you back and be like, hold on. Where is this coming from? Give them grace. let's look at me. Where is this coming from? And so, like, as a coach, I go through this process with my clients and I'll say, okay, where is the initial hurt coming from? Because see what happens, we carry these emotions and these traumas and these situations in our body, in our nervous system, and they're getting awakened by things that somebody else is doing. So if we're not healing the inner soul that we have, it's going to continue to reflect outwards on other people that are going to hit that soul that may affect us through anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame. And it's just a constant repeated cycle. So if you want to break free of those constant cycles, then let me know. Let's have a conversation. Actually, you guys, I'm even going to be doing a free workshop soon. You have no idea. So much is coming. But I have a lot going on right now. We're traveling. I'm traveling this month and next month, so bear with me. I told my friend that in June, I'm going to hit the ground running with a free workshop because I know the mastermind is 222, which it still is, but I'm also going to host a free workshop as well. So I want you guys to learn more. I want you to dive in. I want you to go deep with me. Stay tuned for that. And of course, make sure you're subscribing. I always have that link there. Take a snapshot of the QR code. The link should pop up, and then make sure you register under the subscribe option. Okay. So here we go again. Remember, they disrespected me, but the alignment is not everything deserves my energy. You have to realize that, because that's where God is like, hey, I need you to step back. He pulled me back the same way when I was having that argument with my boyfriend. And he said, I need you to go into John chapter 4. And I was like, I'm sorry, Jonah chapter 4. And I was like, what? And it blew me away, you guys, because Jonah chapter 4, like, Jonah ran away from God and then he got angry with God, which was so funny. I just thought, okay, God, I hear you. I understand. I'm going to share more with you guys about what he's been doing in the several days after I last did that live. So bear with me. Okay. Maybe in your mind, ego is, I should have said this. Oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Alignment is, I release what's already done. I'll never forget. I did a conference last year and I didn't have any help. I did everything on my own because for some reason, I couldn't ask for help. Yep. I've been one of those perfectionists, couldn't ask for help, you name it. Like, I just didn't ask for help. I couldn't do it. I was just like, well, it's my event. I got to figure it out. Okay. And for the most part, everything was in order, except when we needed certain things, like the screens needed to come down, the lights needed to be dimmed. I didn't have somebody there for logistics to do that. I said, okay, well, that needs to happen. Let's go ahead and let the staff know. And somebody came up to me and they're like, the staff isn't there. And I'm like, okay, well, just go ahead and find them. I was so calm, you guys, that I had a friend of mine walk up to me who's also a very, she's a Jesus lover. She does Bible study. She's a woman of Christ. She's a sister in Christ. She's all things God loving. And she's like, I don't know how you did it. You were so calm. I would be so mad. I would do this. I would do that. Like, I would have been just like, they got everything out of order and they got this, they got that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I go with the flow. And that's the thing. So when ego shows up, like when it did with my boyfriend and I in our argument, that stemmed from past hurt. That stemmed from something that happened in my past that I'm like, I'm not going to let this man do this to me. I'm not going to do this. I showed up in a place of like, you're not going to hurt me. You're not going to do this to me. And I'm not talking to you. Like, I literally was just like, who am I? There was no pause for me. I reacted. And then I got to really understand, okay, where is this coming from? I'm reacting to him because of something that happened in my past. And this is how things like this will show up. So remember, the alignment is I release what's already done. So no matter what happened, I release what's already done. When I talk to people frustrated and they're so this, and I'm just like, bless and release. Bless and release the person, because you're causing more pain and agony to your body that you don't need. When we hold the emotions like anger, fear, sadness, all these things, they develop illnesses within our body, these ailments. That's how heart attacks exist. That's how kidney failure exists. Liver functions, are taking, you guys, when I can't talk on my words, I'm telling you, but like liver failure, kidney failure, I'm telling you. So it's like, this is why it's so important that you understand this information. You want to be able to live in this peace, this enlightenment that God has for you. Ego wants to prove, and alignment wants peace. Remember that. So what does ego feel like? Ego feels urgent, emotional, defensive, reactive, where alignment feels calm, clear, grounded, and intentional. Do you understand the difference? So like if I were to say the words urgent, emotional, defensive, reactive, how do you feel? Like your nervous system is jumpy. But if I were to say calm, clear, rounded, intentional, you feel this like softness in your body. So now you know the difference. Your body will react with ego. Your body will stay calm with alignment. So if it feels urgent and emotional, it's usually your ego. If it feels calm and clear, it's alignment. So this is where I bring God into this, like, because he's brought me to this space. God doesn't rush you into reaction. He invites you into alignment. He did that with me when I reacted extremely in that situation. He's like, wait. I need you to pause. I need you to give him blessings. I need you to bless him for not knowing. And I was just like, part of me was like, yeah, but God, he knows. I told him many, many times. How many of you argue with God? I'm telling you. I've done it many times. But God will never lead you to chaos. Remember that. He will never lead you to chaos. He will always bring you away from it. But you have to be willing. So it was funny when he brought me away. I was just like, oh, okay. Kind of felt a little sheepish. I was a little embarrassed because then I ended up texting my boyfriend. I'm like, we'll talk in a bit. I just need some time to calm down. When in actuality, God be slapping me across the face and be like, or hold your horses. I'm just kidding. You guys know I love joking. But you get the reference. But this is where your power comes in. You don't eliminate ego. You learn not to follow it. You just understand when it shows up. And you understand the process of it. So you get to pause. You get to notice the emotion. You get to ask, is this ego or alignment? And then you get to choose intentionally how you're going to respond and how you're going to move forward. These are 4 simple steps that I want you to remember. Number 1, you're going to pause. Number 2, you're going to notice the emotion. Number 3, you're going to ask, is this ego or alignment? And number 4, you're going to choose intentionally. You don't need to react to everything you feel. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you should follow it. So really quick, you guys, can I share a little bit about my own journey that God's been putting me in? And I share this because, I know he's going to do this to you all. but it's all going to lead to a clear path. Sometimes I have so many ideas in my head that I pause because I'm like, which one do I want to go with today? Which one am I in alignment with? So understand why sometimes I trip over my words, because there's so much that wants to come out and say. Sometimes I feel like, all right, God, is that you or is that me? Are we both trying to speak? Maybe I should stop and like tell my brain, stop. Let's just let God speak through me. Let's do that. So I'm going to quickly share my own journey with him, okay? So when he put me into Jonah, he taught me emotional mastery, because remember, Jonah got mad at God. And then he threw me into Daniel, which means he strengthened my discernment. And then he created boundaries. He reminded me of my boundaries. He put me into Ezekiel. And then he showed me Nehemiah. And this helped me rebuild myself. So if you guys know these chapters, you'll understand the references. And then he threw me into Leviticus, which I had never been in Leviticus before. But this is where he showed me that I was being refined. And I was like, okay, I can see that. And then he put me into Matthew 10. And this is where he had me step into authority. And then he threw me into Revelations 11. I was like, Revelations? Whew, Lord. He said, you trusted God with outcomes, meaning I trusted him with my outcomes, meaning I was going to give it all to him no matter what. And I was like, okay, I could see that. So remember, ego, I'm not apologizing first. They hurt me. Nope. Alignment is, do I want to be right or do I want peace? Ego wants to win. Alignment wants to heal. This is the difference, you guys. Ego will always steer you to chaos. Alignment will always steer you to peace. Ego can say, they're ignoring me. That's disrespectful. Alignment says, I don't know what they're dealing with. I choose not to assume. Ooh, that's a good one. Ego creates stories in your head, right? All these stories. Alignment stays grounded in truth. And you may be overthinking in a conversation something like, I should have said this. Did I sound dumb? That's ego. Alignment will say, I showed up as I was meant to, and I release it. That's why, you guys, sometimes when I do my show and I mess up or I stumble over a word or anything like that, I'm okay with it. I'm human. I'm going to stumble, but I'm at peace. That's the joy. That is the excitement I get when God is redirecting me and aligning me in this space. So remember, ego always replays and alignment releases. And how you're comparing yourself to others, ego will be, why are they ahead of me? Alignment will say, what's meant for me is still mine. Ego will say, ego will compete, and alignment trusts. And sometimes when you're feeling disrespected, ego will say, I need to correct them right now. Alignment says, not everything deserves my energy. And then remember that ego reacts fast and alignment pauses. And ego will sometimes say, I need to prove that I'm good enough. And alignment will say, I move with confidence. I don't chase validation. That is literally where I sit as an entrepreneur, as a woman in business, as someone who loves on people. No matter what, no matter where I show up in rooms, I move with confidence and I move with the right people. And when you get in this type of alignment and when you show up in God's love and alignment, you attract the people that also show up in that space as well. And that's what I want for you. So if you're tired of that chaos and egos controlling your life, I invite you to continue and join one of the workshops coming up, free workshops we have. I invite you to subscribe. I invite you to follow on social media. I invite you to reach out to me. So many people. I tell you guys all the time, DM me, email me, wherever it is you're at in your life, I want to support you. So remember, I told you from the beginning, God is asking you to be in alignment. Ego is loud, it's fast, it's emotional. It wants to defend, prove, react, and control. But alignment is calm, it's clear, it's grounded, and it always gives you a choice. Ego pulls you into reaction, but God calls you into alignment. So I want to ask, which one of these hits you the most? Where have you been reacting when you were actually being called to respond? Think about that. And I want you guys to reach out to me. I'm going to give you guys that to ponder and let me know. Because you were never meant to be led by your emotions. You were meant to be led by your truth, by the truth, by alignment, by God. And every moment you choose that, you step into the woman or man you were created to be. So remember, you guys, if this spoke to you, comment alignment. If you're joining me live, if you're joining this on replay, just let me know alignment and start paying attention this week. Start to listen or see or experience or understand who's leading you, ego or alignment. Because ego is fear dressed up as control. You don't need to follow every emotion you feel. God will not lead you into chaos. He will never lead you into chaos. And stay within the peace, because that is the sign of alignment. All right, you guys? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Ego versus Alignment. As I mentioned before, I have an amazing guest speaker that's coming on. And I'm going to share a little bit more about how I opened up about my tax story, my tax strategy. And I want to be able to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone out there who's also struggling with that. So let me go ahead and bring in this phenomenal woman. Let me go ahead and bring her in. This is Gloria Acosta. So her and I met through a mutual friend. Hi, welcome. So her and I met through a mutual friend, and she does all things bookkeeping and understanding of accounting, finances, and really can help support you in building something strategic for your own long-term wealth, your long-term growth, whether it be business or personal. And I was sharing with them a little bit about my story of how I got stuck in my taxes. And I was trying to hit the cutoff date by April 15th. And I dove into QuickBooks for the very first time, and it completely spiraled me. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was like going into frustration and overwhelm, and I was behind, you guys, 4 years. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need a system in place. And Gloria happened to see my social media, because I was just like, oh my God, you guys, I just died. I'm dying. Because you all know I throw real stuff out on my social media. I was just like, rah, I've just died. And she responded and she's like, hi, I can help you. If you need any help, just let me know. And she's so sweet. But part of me was like my ADHD.
Oh, I think we lost Francine. I'll wait for her to come back on. I think there might be some technical difficulties. We'll wait for her to come back on.